President Donald Trump's interview with Jonathan Swan of Axios began with him telling a dizzying string of lies about his coronavirus response and the state of the pandemic in the country. It ended with Trump making the death of civil rights leader John Lewis about himself. It didn't go any better in between. For the second time in a month, Trump's attempt to sit down for an interview with a journalist willing to challenge him ended in disaster. Over the course of 37 minutes, Swan repeatedly exposed Trump's inability to respond to the most basic of follow-up questions. Trump's difficulty with pushback is often concealed when he answers questions beside a loud helicopter or in the friendly confines of Sean Hannity's show. But the Swan interview, which came out just 2 weeks after Trump's similarly disastrous performance on Chris Wallace's show, highlighted the degree to which Trump is unable to defend his record in the face of even mildly challenging questions. Trump's coronavirus comments continue to be an embarrassment. Perhaps the most terrifying part of the interview came early on when Swan peppered Trump with a string of questions about why he isn't doing more to fight the coronavirus and why the virus has hit the US so much harder than other comparable countries. Asked how he can say the pandemic is under control when roughly 1,000 Americans are dying from COVID-19 each day, Trump said, remarkably, that, "It is what it is. They are dying. That's true. It is what it is. ... It's under control as much as you can control it." On the topic of America's struggles with coronavirus testing, including long wait times for test results that render testing almost worthless, Trump resorted to making stuff up. "There are those that say you can't test too much. You know that?" Trump said at one point. "Who says that?" Swan responded. "Read the manuals. Read the books," answered Trump. "What books?" Swan challenged, but no answer was forthcoming. Instead, Trump said that, "When I took over we didn't even have a test," as if the Obama administration was supposed to develop a test for a virus that didn't exist until nearly 3 years after Trump's inauguration. A few minutes later, just as he did on Wallace's show, Trump waved around pieces of paper with charts and graphs in an unconvincing effort to make it seem as though the U.S. coronavirus death toll of more than 150,000 isn't as bad as it seems. "Right here, the United States is lowest in numerous categories. We're lower than the world," Trump stammered, which prompted Swan to respond, incredulously, "Lower than the world? In what?" "Oh, you're doing death as a proportion of cases," Swan continued. "I'm talking about death as a proportion of population. That's where the US is really bad. Much worse than South Korea, Germany, etc. Look at South Korea, 50 million population, 300 deaths." Trump responded by suggesting South Korea is faking its numbers.